Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah,
Good.
good, thanks. Yeah.
Good. So I love the first season, and I've seen the first episode of the second so far. And I love this time jump just to be able to see, more action and to see where you are now. So I just wanted to jump into that and, ask what it's like for you showing the initial rookie side of things, but then seeing how it's progressing.
Great. It's great to be able to revisit a show that people have connected with and sort of jumped on board, and then sort of, let these characters breathe a bit more in series two, and get to connect again as a company of actors that we actually do genuinely get on with each other. Although I think we do, don't we?
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's a really special show in that respect. But then to see them now more confident in their choices, less reticent, knowing, how it works, how the procedure works, is yeah, a joy.
But you say confidence, like there's a moment in the first episode where Grace she's hesitant. She doesn't
Yeah.
want to, and I get it. She doesn't want to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
What was that like for you acting this out of showing that there is still some hesitation, but it's also a good hesitation?
Yeah, that was a really interesting scene to play. And also it was we have on the set, we always have like a police advisor most of the time. And for me, it was quite interesting to find out from him that those situations where you pull your gun out and put your finger on the trigger are quite rare within the police force there. Only possibly once or twice in your career. So the stakes were really high. So for her, even though she's now experienced and a year on in, her job, that situation doesn't really come, you don't experience it very often. But it was amazing to be able to play, because I think, as a human being, to have to think about the fact that you actually are going to follow through with this in order to protect somebody's life is quite a change. Once you make that decision, you become slightly different, a different person, I think.
You do, and I don't think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that she actually puts her finger on the trigger. It's always on the guard at the side.
Yeah.
Almost like she doesn't want to.
She goes to put her finger on
Done.
the yeah.
So this connects to Annie in an earlier scene in the episode. So what was it like for portraying this of I feel guilt and I could have done something different, but you only knew what you knew at the time?
Uh, well, she's always learning. She's always learning within the police force, and they make mistakes, and things do happen as such like that, and she does feel this. There is guilt surrounding that as well, and I think for Annie, she is a quick thinker, but she just has to think a bit more, and she kind of has to, because she's so reactive as well. She sometimes just has to hone in on, no, is this the right decision? But she's learning as she goes.
I love it because yeah, she is reactive, but she has seemed to have like calmed down a bit. And I think the events of the season one finale that led to her realizing she needed to take a step back sometimes.
Totally take a step back, but also there's so much sacrifice involved, and particularly with her background, there's a lot of sacrifice. And it's a real vocation, and there's a lot of risk, and she's going into this, and it's something that she really has to think about.
And then with Tommy, he's really taken a step back. Like he's off that fast track now.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
that been like for you? Going into it with a new career path for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think for it to make sense and for it to be believable, Tommy was going to have to make some changes, to warrant the fact that he was able to make it through for a year. I think in the first series, you see Tommy as this sort of shy, no confidence, you know, nervous, not very good at what he was doing, very reliant maybe on his mentor Jerry, to sort of maybe help him through a little bit. And then obviously with the big event that happens at the end of the first season, I think that was a massive catalyst for Tommy to have to change, and to change quickly. And I think part of that, you know, him sort of stepping back from the fast track program was to, well, sort of give homage almost to Jerry, you know, and take Jerry with, you know, with him on this journey through the rest of his career. So yeah, I think all those things were to do with that big thing that happened at the end of series 1.
The thing.
You know,
Big thing.
big thing, you know, anyone's seen the first series, they'll know what the big thing is.
Jerry hasn't been forgotten though, and I
No.
love that there's constant mentions of it throughout that, especially the first episode. And I'm assuming it continues because it is such a huge part.
Yeah.
What's that like for you as actors, being able to portray these very real characters that death sticks? It
Yeah.
really sticks with us.
It does, it really does. And I think the writers obviously extremely smart move to put it a year on rather than, you know, a short period of time, because it means we're not just, you know, crying in the PlayStation for like, you know, 2 weeks straight. But oh no, it was a good move from them to do it a year down the line, where it's enough to know that it's still affecting them and it's still going with them, but it's not enough to, you know, consume the whole of the series with grief.
What's it like for both of you as well?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, I think it's totally true that, you know, having Jerry as such a big character, and then, you know, the big thing that happens in season 1, it you know, it wouldn't be true to life if you didn't mention him again, because if part of the reason the show works is because of the relationships and the friendships that are so firmly formed in the Force, because these individuals are in such extreme situations and spending so much time with each other in close quarters, protecting each other as well as members of the society, that they can't help but form really strong bonds. So when you lose somebody within that team, that family, you know, you have to remember them. And it just, in series 2, I think it just makes it very present, that feeling that, you know, at any one time, in any situation you go into, it's always an unknown. And, you know, you could, someone could get injured, someone could, you know, loss of life. It sort of is ever present underneath, I think, all of them in terms of their actions throughout.
Yeah, I mean, it's as well with Annie and Jerry, funny enough, they don't have any scenes together in season 1, but again, just bouncing off what the guys were saying, there is this ripple effect, particularly when it comes to grief, or particularly when it comes to when somebody passes away, that there's a lasting impact. And you know, even the fact that it, to ring home to its real life, the fact that not so much you didn't see scenes with Annie and Jerry, but there's an energy to Jerry that lives within all of the characters, and it's still super, it's just under the surface constantly, yeah, just there.
Well, thank you so much. That's all I've got time for, but I can't wait for everyone to see season 2.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.